Welcome to the show, and I'm your host, Kaye Liautaud. As we bring this season to a close, I want to thank you all so much for your support. Without you, without God's grace, I wouldn't have been able to complete this season. So I thank God and I thank all of you. As a journalist, I'm always meeting people. And recently I had the opportunity to interview DJ Envy of the syndicated morning show, The Breakfast Club, and his wife, Gia Casey. So I've got that coming up on the Kaye Liautaud Show. Stay tuned. And today I'll be interviewing DJ Envy and his wife, Gia Casey. Welcome. Absolutely. Envy, you're known for your car shows. Mm-hmm. If you could drive one car for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why?
That's a good question.
Well, that's a kind of like a two-pronged answer, right? And I'll tell you the reason why. I'm a dad with 6 kids.
Practicality.
So my favorite car would be probably a LaFerrari, which is my favorite, but that would be just for me and my honey right here. But when it comes to cars, I need something to fit the whole clan.
I need a Sprinter. His favorite car is a Sprinter.
And I'm Wu-Tang clan. So I would need a Sprinter. I would need a double Escalade with an extended ESV to fit all the kids.
Fleet of Tahoe.
Yeah, Fleet of Tahoe. So to answer that question, I would say if it's just me and my wife, I would say a LaFerrari. If it's the family, I would say the ESV with the row seat, because that fits 3, 6, 7, 8. So all 8 of us can fit in there. We'll be a little tight, but the whole family can rock and roll.
Well, Gia, it sounds like your husband is putting some fashion in there for you when it comes to driving cars. But fashion has changed a great deal over the years, like from the 80s up until now. Which era of fashion do you prefer to see each other in? 80s acid wash jeans, the 90s baggy pants?
Naked with the tattoos, is that a category?
I don't know what category that is.
What are you gonna do today?
I don't know. Roman times, I don't know.
What era do I prefer to see him in? You know, I don't think that the garb that I like to see him in best necessarily fits into an era, because how I like to see him, you could insert into any era. I like him when he looks sharp, like a nice sports jacket, a tuxedo, but he does it kind of ill. Like he does it with his jewelry, he does it with a pair of hard bottoms that are laced in Swarovski crystals. Like he has his own edge that he puts to it, and I mean I might be biased, but I haven't really seen too many people do that.
Hey, I like to hear that. For me, it's the 90s. And I'm gonna tell you why. The 90s was an era where I think women could wear what they want and they weren't judged. My wife would walk around with, they call them booty shorts now, but that's what she wore every day. It was spandex and we went out. And it was amazing because I got to see her body. I got to see her tight clothes and how it fit her. But then she could switch it up and throw the baggy stuff on. And it was just us. You know, we're a matching family. So if you really look, you'll see pictures of us in the 90s wearing the same Tommy Hilfiger outfit. It was just dope.
Same triple fat goose.
Mm-hmm. Same cross colors, same Carl Canine, same polo rugby with the matching boots. But then also she could get sexy. So I think the 90s era was it was very playful. Like you could wear colors, you could get sexy, you could be girly, you could be, I always say, we always joke and say, call it a drug dealer's girlfriend, where it was like, you know, you wear the ill fur with the tight butt, you know, that's I would say the 90s era.
If you both were stars in a movie from the past to the present, what movie would it be?
Ooh.
For me, it would be Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I just, you know what? Because that movie was, because Gia and I, if you ever read our book, you would see that when we were first dating, I was a little insecure, so we would argue. But that would be us. We would argue, and we're very competitive. So we're the type of couple that, no matter what it is, we're competitive. If it's Monopoly, we're not gonna stop until somebody's crying. If it's a foot race, we're not gonna stop till somebody falls. If it doesn't matter what it is, and the person does not know how to do the sport. So for instance, Gia can't swim, but she will challenge me to a race in a pool, and she would damn near die trying to beat me. But I won't save her until I win. I win and then I go back and get it. But that's who we are. So that's why I say Mr. and Mrs. Smith would be the movie, because at the end, of course, all the arguments and going back and forth made it sexy, and they wanted to have sex. So that's why I would say Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
It all leads back to that.
Why not? We have 6 kids, as you can tell.
I would say Eddie Murphy and the leading lady in Coming to America. Yeah.
Damn, I missed that one. That's my.
I promise you, I thought that was going to be your answer.
That
That's
is my
his
favorite movie. Damn, I didn't think about
so I did
that.
that just for you both.
You're my queen to be.
Yes. Just because there was I like it because it showed that wealth, money, lifestyle, title has nothing to do with everlasting love. You know, he knew that he wanted her, she wanted him, she had no idea what his status was, and it was really just the love, and they ended up together in the end. So, nice love story.
I like that. The Dr. Walter A. Kite Memorial Foundation was founded by a woman named Jennifer Kite, and for over 10 years she has honored her husband's legacy as a principal and a superintendent by helping graduates in New York City pursue their post-secondary goals, and he even has a street named after him in Brooklyn. How has the educational system served you? And do you think college is still very important after high school?
I am very heavily invested in education. Both my husband and I have our college degrees, and all of our children will have their college degrees. We just had our daughter graduate from NYU just a couple of weeks ago. Our son goes to University of Miami. He's 20. And our plan is that all of our children will follow suit. They won't have a choice. You know, I do believe in freedom of choice in many different areas, but our children won't have a choice. They're all going to be compelled by us to graduate from college. Now, on the flip side of that, do I think that it's necessary? I don't really think that it's necessary. Necessary is a weighted word. And I think that a person can be very successful without a college education. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the most successful people do not have a college education. For me, it's important because I think that it's something that you can just have under your belt. The educational proponent is very important, but I also had some of the best years of my life in college. I had too much fun in college, and I want that for my kids as well. And to be honest, you can't have too much education. Like my son, my 20-year-old, right now he does real estate wholesaling without a real estate license. But he found a way to do it and to be extremely successful. He makes more money than a lot of grown adults that are graduates from college and whatnot. So I don't think that it's necessary. I think that it takes ingenuity. I think it takes ambition, drive, and creativity.
Do you both think that you would have still been as successful as you are today without your college degrees?
No, I don't think so. And the reason why is, to piggyback on what Gia said, yeah, our kids will definitely go to college. I think schooling needs to change. I think curriculums need to change. I think the world is changing, and I think they haven't caught up yet. I mean, if you think about some of the millionaires and even billionaires and what they did, those are not classes taught in school. You know, whether it's, you know, social media and YouTube, whether it's gaming, these are businesses where people are making a lot of money, and not just one or two, probably more than the NBA, more than the NFL. So why don't we teach these things? Why don't we teach kids how to do more of these things, whether it comes to coding, whether it comes to advertisement, whether it comes to real estate, whether it comes to accounting, whether it comes to all these different things where people are rich. Yeah, finance. So to answer your question, yes, and the reason, not only because of the education, but the connections that I made in school. When I grew up in college, in high school, I was a DJ in New York, and all I knew was New York music, right? I'm from Queens, and I rep Queens, and I knew my Brooklyn, I knew Bronx, I knew Harlem, Long Island, Jersey, Staten Island, and parts of Connecticut. That was it for me. That was, you know, we would go to Philly, but that was it. when I went to college, it opened me up to a whole nother world. I had a roommate from Mississippi. I had roommates from Indiana. I had roommates from all over the world, the West Coast. And people say, well, what does that mean? When I'm doing mixtapes, they're bringing my mixtapes back to their cities. They're also bringing me music back. So now, you know, I had a roommate from New Orleans who's bringing me Master P music, and I'm putting it on. So now when I'm DJing, I'm even bigger than I was before, because now I'm not just targeting my target, which is New York. I'm hitting people in the West Coast. I'm doing booty shake. I'm doing club music, and it made me a bigger DJ. It made me more known than most people would be in the city. So I think it absolutely positively helped me out. Now, my kids, as far as college, I don't know. I want them to get their degree so they can understand the basics.
Their foundation.
Yeah, their foundation. But what I stress, how my parents stressed me being the first person in my family, especially my dad's side, to go to college, no, it wasn't that much of a stress. So for my kids, I want them to do it the other way. I want them to take classes that they might not have taken, whether it's a fine art class. I mean, in Hampton, I had to take an etiquette class. And I'm sitting there in etiquette class like, what the hell is etiquette? Like, what do I need? You have a fork and your knife, you eat. But, you know, they teach you what fork to use for salad. They teach you a wine glass. They teach you water glass, whatever it may be. And these things are very, very important so they don't look like a fool when I'm out with my wife eating at a restaurant. So for them, I would just tell them that I want them to get a foundation, but I would prefer if they take classes outside the box.
You mentioned in earlier interviews that your dad was a police officer. Do you think that hip-hop, specifically rap music, should make a better effort in building relationships with law enforcement as opposed to avoiding them?
I think in the world, we should make a better effort of making sure that we understand everybody. Because my dad was a police officer, I look at things out of two sides. You know, most people only look at things at the side of the other side of the police officer because they never see that side. For instance, if I'm getting pulled over, the first thing people usually say is, well, why the fuck am I getting pulled over? Excuse my French, right? That's what they usually say. But now, since my dad is a police officer, the first thing my dad's gonna say, yo, you're driving, you got tints. Why you got tints in your windows? You're gonna get pulled over. Oh, you have no front plate, you're gonna get pulled over. So it's different things which I see. I see it from both sides. Not to say either one is right, but I'm able to identify things a different way because my dad drills me with that, you know. It helped out a lot because, like I said, my dad's a police officer, so he's teaching me from a different side opposed to the other side. He's the one that's gonna say, hey, you get pulled over, you know, right away, roll down your windows, put your hands on the steering wheel. Because his whole thing is, whether you're right or wrong, I wanna make sure you make it home. And that's the thing, that's the first thing I tell my kids each and every day when they leave. You can't win, you can't beat the police in the street. I wanna make sure you make it home. And then when you get home, then we can figure out what we're gonna do. But at the end of the day, I need to make sure that you make it home safely.
Envy, radio has changed drastically throughout the years. It was different 10 to 15 years ago. You couldn't say certain things on the air because it was forbidden or considered taboo. Do you feel that the content on morning radio shows is appropriate for children? And is it their responsibility or the responsibility of the parents to guard what children hear?
I mean, I think it's the responsibility of the parents to always guard what you hear. It's like anything else. It's like watching, you know, a show on cable. If your kids watch a show on cable, they might hear some things that are maybe a little too adultish for them. And sometimes on the Breakfast Club, we are a little too adultish. It is what it is. We try to do it tastefully. My kids do listen. Sometimes we cross that line. Sometimes we jump over that line a little bit and we go a little too far. But I always say it's if the parents feel away or it is a discussion or something that they don't feel comfortable with their kids listening to, turn it down. You know, you can come back to us in 20 minutes. But we try to make sure a lot of those topics are times when we know kids are in school. I know at about 7:55, my kids are on their way to school. 8 o'clock, kids are usually in school. It's free and clear to do whatever it is.
If there was a national food for hip hop, what would it be?
National food?
A national food for hip hop. What would that be?
It depends. All right, so if it's national food and we in the strip club, it's lemon pepper wings, right? Right? If it's after the club and you're hungry, it's pizza in New York, right? I would say wings. I would say chicken wings. I mean, because it is. I mean, when you go to the club,
who doesn't like chicken wings?
Well, we order wings and fries when we go to the club. When we go to the strip club, we order wings and fries. For breakfast, we order, chicken and waffles. So I would say wings. That's just for me. But I do know when we go to the club, we get lemon pepper wings. It is what it is. And then after the club, the only place that's open is pizza. And it's cheap. It's $1.99. So you good money.
Gia, you're in your second season of the Casey crew. Can you tell me about the creative aspects that you use to decide on the topics for your upcoming episodes?
Well, then I think you're going to have to redirect that question because my husband here chooses all of the topics and all of the emails. And there's a reason for it.
Yeah, so I usually pick all of it. And the real reason is usually I like Gia's initial reaction, right? Meaning I do radio all day long. So if I have to take this cut over 10 times, I'm going to give you the same thing like I heard it the first time. It's just natural. It's just what I do. For Gia, I like the initial reaction of whatever it is. If it's two left, you're going to be like, what? Now the second time, she already heard it, so it just doesn't hit the same. So I like a lot of the initial reaction when it comes to it. But usually
he likes it to be raw.
Yeah.
He likes for my response to be raw.
And topics come from anything. It can come from a conversation. It can come from a situation with us. It can come from us being in this room and I hear you talking about something about your boyfriend. I'm like, babe, I just heard her say that her boyfriend's an ass. Let's talk about it. That's where it comes from.
What was Gia's most notable reaction to a topic that you came up with?
I mean, the most recent podcast was about running red lights, and the guy wanted to know, if it was cool to eat his girl out during her period. That reaction that you just gave was the reaction she gave. I don't see nothing wrong with running a red light here and there, but that's me.
Okay.
Made you feel uncomfortable. See, that's the same reaction I want from you.
And I'm sure we'll get the same reaction out of your viewers too.
See that?
Gia, I know you're very open when it comes to talking to the media about relationships and even your own personal relationships. And there are some women out there who struggle to find their own self-love and inner strength. Can you give the women out there any advice on how they can strengthen the relationship with themselves and how can they find confidence and see themselves differently?
Yeah, teach them how they can get stronger with themselves.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
What are you talking about? I'm curious.
Remember the podcast before that, but go ahead.
It's not something that I believe you can read a book and develop. I think that having self-esteem and self-worth, confidence is something that takes a very long time to develop. I know exactly where my self-esteem and my confidence came from. I was raised by a wonderful set of parents, particularly my mother. Because mothers, obviously, they give a priceless gift to their daughters. They teach them how to be women. And my mother was an insurmountable example of that. So she's the only example that I've ever had in my life. She and my father are the only people that I've ever looked up to in my life. If you ask an ordinary person, you might get Michelle and Barack, you might get, for me it was my parents. They're the only people that were around me that could influence me that I ever said, I want to be like her, or I want to be as smart as him. I want to be as open-minded as her. I want to have as much empathy as her. I want to be as cool, chill, and down to earth as him. They taught me things like, and Rashawn says this all the time, the way that he puts it is, you treat the janitor like the CEO. I lived in a house where that was paramount. My parents would never stand for me treating someone less than. They didn't raise me to ever feel as though anybody was less than. So with that, it was a constant drilling of confidence. I always thought that I was the best at everything, whether it was the truest thing or the most false thing. It didn't matter. I led with that because I was raised to believe that, so I feel as though my life kind of circled around that. Nowadays, people call it the universe and, energy that you put out. I didn't have a title for it. I didn't know what it was called at that time, but I was raised that way. So it was years of being told that you're amazing, or being told that you're smart, or being told that you're beautiful, whatever, it comes from within. So if you have a woman who wasn't raised with that much reinforcement, you have a woman that wasn't poured into. If you have a woman whose parents weren't there for them or support them, or was abused by men from a young age and started that cycle and lived in that cycle, they could be the smartest, they could be the most beautiful. They don't believe it about themselves because it's never been reinforced, and then you're in a situation where nothing but insecurity starts to brew. So to break those cycles, it's difficult. I think that it starts with having people around you that do in fact pour into you. A lot of introspection. For some people it will take therapy, but I think at the heart of my answer is the fact that today the idea of beauty is so mislabeled. When I look at someone, I don't look at someone for what they look like physically, because now in the day, especially with social media and the build-a-bodies and things like that, I think that the public's idea of beauty is such a skew. It's not about what a person's true beauty is. So for me, I look at a whole person, and I think that women have to look at their whole selves to determine what beauty really is. Like, I am smart, I am funny, I am witty, I am an empath, I do care about others, I am funny, I am a good friend, a good daughter, a good fill in the blank. So I think that it really starts there, identifying your own beauty.
Welcome to Kaye Finds, and today I found Brianna Daquin from Brooklyn, New York. She is a content creator for Wellness Bee. Brianna, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you here today. I want you to tell everyone about Wellness Bee, your wellness brand, and what your content involves and shares with people.
Okay, sure. So my content is just putting out content for like practicing healthy wellness. So for an example, recipes that'll be, so someone who can be transitioning from like following the standard American diet to someone who wants to be vegetarian and might not know how to do so. So showing them and giving them resources on like where to shop for mushrooms and certain vegetables. Another example can be juice content. Okay. Juice is like becoming like a popular thing.
Yeah.
Healthy, yes. Healthy juice recipes. Yeah, stuff like that.
And so what inspired you to kind of go on this wellness journey to share with people how to have a healthier diet and lifestyle?
Yep, so in 2019, I had a cyst on my ovaries and I had to do emergency surgery. I was terrified, didn't understand. I didn't understand why. And so the doctors couldn't really tell me what caused it. They didn't know why it happened. But after when I left, I started to like look up things online and try to figure out why. And I did my own research. And I also followed this popular author. Her name is Queen Afua. She writes books on like healing yourself mentally and physically. And just reading and educating myself, I was able to learn like certain herbal recipes. And I just changed my diet from like junk food and just learning how to like put healthier things together for me and my family. And I was able to pretty much heal myself.
Yeah, sometimes doctors, they're not always able to figure out what is the root cause of something that's wrong with us. Was there anything, aside from junk food, that maybe was in your diet that you removed and you kind of noticed like a positive change within yourself?
Yes, I would say dairy was number one.
Okay.
And also finding out what your blood type is, which a lot of people aren't aware of, but finding out what your blood type, just so it can be tailored to your diet and like what you're supposed to be eating.
Okay.
So I was aware of like certain things that I was eating on a regular. I had to like eliminate it completely. And sometimes, if you're not ready to make that big leap, you can change it from like, daily to like maybe like bi-weekly, and that will still have a positive impact on your body.
Okay, well, that was very informative. So thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem.
I see we have some loose leaf tea here. What's included in this blend, and how does it benefit the body?
Yes. So the number one ingredient is echinacea.
Okay.
We also have some elderberry, which is really, really good for the immune system. So I prefer loose leaf teas as opposed to like the store-bought brand, because there are some brands that aren't as, I'd say, natural for us and healthier.
Okay.
So I think loose leaf tea is the way to go. Sometimes having the infuser may help you with that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, what is this thing?
Yeah, so that is an infuser. I know it looks a little, it looks tricky. There are different types of infusers also. You just put the herbs inside of it.
Okay, so I can
And then
just
you
like,
would-
scoop it up
Yep.
from this bag.
Yep, just scoop it out, have your boiling hot water.
Okay.
And then you would put it in the teacup. And then I also have a manual here for
Okay.
people who aren't sure on what to do step by step.
Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. You just kind of steep your tea in here, and obviously you don't leave this in here to drink, right?
I mean,
it's
no.
not like the tea bag where I can leave the tea bag and then the string is out.
Right. I think also purchasing like tea bags and putting the herbs in there might be better for some people starting out with an
Oh, you
infuser.
can purchase the tea bags on your own.
Yes, you
Okay.
can. Yeah, that also helps. Yeah.
And then I also see we have some body butter here. So from what I've kind of heard, body butters are different from lotions. How is this beneficial?
Yes. I don't know about you, but I prefer a thicker consistency as opposed to lotion. And shea butter lasts longer. It's a lot more natural. And I also have some essential oils in there.
Okay.
Not too powerful, but just like the right amount. And it also, for this specific one, we have lavender. And you know, lavender is good for like calming the
Yes.
mind and the body. So I have a lavender one, and I also have a calendula. That's really good for the skin.
Nice. So I feel like you just gave me like a whole new bedtime routine. because
Yes.
I love to have tea before I go to sleep. So I'm going to have some loose leaf tea before I go to bed, lather myself up in some body butter.
Yes.
Yeah, I need something that lasts.
I agree. It lasts all day, and also lavender essential oil, eucalyptus oil, adding those into your shower will change your whole shower routine.
Nice.
Yes, it brings your stress levels down.
And I love the tote bag as well. The whole
Yeah, so,
army
but-
one is very nice.
But first tea comes with, so for the most part, I will sell these wellness boxes for the holidays.
Okay.
Yeah, so but first tea is what it says. So representing for all the tea lovers out there.
Nice. And where can people follow your content creation and possible new products that are on the way?
Okay, so on Instagram, it would be _@wellnessb.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming here today. I am Kaye Liautaud with the Kaye Liautaud Show. And stay tuned because coming up, we have Kaye's Thoughts. Welcome to Kaye's Thoughts. You know, I was thinking back to a question that I had asked DJ Envy and Gia Casey in regards to education. And I believe that education is such an important, such a vital part of our lives, not just in our childhood and high school years, but it extends beyond that into our college years. I love when I have an opportunity to encourage young people to pursue a college education. It's more than just the major that you choose. Going to college opens up a broad spectrum of different perspectives, and you only learn that by talking to other people, being open to meeting new people, and networking. Sometimes the best way to learn is by listening to each other. You always have to keep your mind open to different perspectives and ideas and suggestions. It extends beyond school. It goes into your workplace. It goes into a meeting or spending time with family and friends. So I encourage you all to keep your minds open, always learn something new, and of course, pursue your education. Don't let anyone tell you different. One such organization that I know of that has been encouraging young people with their educational goals is the Walter A. Kite Memorial Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization that helps students get scholarships for school and also helps them pursue their dreams. Thank you so much for joining me on my journey with my show. It is by God's grace that I'm able to have this platform to speak to you all. I hope you have been inspired and uplifted by the many voices that have appeared on your screen. So thank you all for your support, and I thank God for you all. So until next time, I'll see you again on the Kaye Liautaud Show. Bye.